a teaspoon of vinegar, a tablespoon of bacon grease, a cup of hot water. That's it. That's the entire ingredient list for a recipe that fed Canadian families for generations. Long before budget meals became a YouTube trend, Canadian women were publishing community cookbooks, church cookbooks, flour company cookbooks, Women's Institute cookbooks, filled with recipes designed to stretch every penny as far as it could possibly go. These weren't recipes born from creativity for its own sake. They were born from necessity, the Great Depression, 2 world wars, rationing, and decades of families who simply didn't have money to waste. Today, those cookbooks sit in attics, library archives, and digitized collections at universities across Canada, full of recipes that fed entire households for what would amount to pennies, even less than $1 in modern terms when you account for the tiny portions of ingredients used. We're counting down 10 of these forgotten meals, recipes that once appeared in real Canadian cookbooks, used by real families to survive on almost nothing. Stay until the end, because number 1 is a cake recipe with no eggs, no milk, and no butter, and it's somehow one of the best reviewed recipes we found in this entire research process. 10. Milk toast. From Depression-era Canadian home recipes. We're starting with the simplest item on this entire list, and one that genuinely confuses people the first time they hear about it. Milk toast was exactly what it sounds like. Stale bread, toasted on both sides, placed in a bowl, and covered with warm milk. Sometimes a small pat of butter was added on top, along with a sprinkle of salt, pepper, or sugar, depending on whether it was meant as a savory dinner or a sweet treat. The genius of milk toast was in what it solved. Bread that had gone stale, which happened constantly in households without plastic packaging or refrigeration, could be completely transformed by toasting it first, which restored some crunch, and then softening it again in warm milk, which made it gentle enough for small children, elderly family members, or anyone with dental problems to eat comfortably. It cost almost nothing. A few slices of bread that would otherwise be thrown away, and a splash of milk. And for many Canadian families during the Depression and both World Wars, it was a legitimate dinner, not a snack, not a side dish, but the meal itself. 9. Creamed eggs on toast, a staple of Canadian farmhouse kitchens. If your family kept chickens, and a huge number of Canadian households, even in towns, did, eggs were one of the few proteins you almost always had on hand. Creamed eggs on toast turned that abundance into a complete dinner. The recipe was simple: hard-boiled eggs, sliced or chopped, folded into a basic white sauce made from butter, flour, and milk, seasoned with salt and pepper, and poured over toasted bread. If you had peas or green onions from the garden, they went in too. If you had a bit of leftover ham, even better. But it wasn't required. What made this dish so enduring in Canadian cookbooks of the 1930s through 1950s was its flexibility. It worked as breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It used eggs that were already in the house, bread that needed using up, and a white sauce that took less than 10 minutes to make from 3 ingredients that every kitchen had. Food historians have noted that dishes like this disappeared largely because the white sauce technique itself fell out of everyday use. Replaced first by canned condensed soups in the 1950s and 60s, and later by convenience foods that made cooking from a sauce feel old-fashioned entirely. 8. Potato and hot dog skillet. The one-pan Depression dinner. This recipe appears in slightly different forms across multiple Canadian Depression-era cookbook collections, and it's exactly the kind of dish that modern food culture has quietly forgotten how valuable it once was. Diced potatoes, fried in a skillet with onions until soft and golden, with sliced hot dogs added near the end to heat through and crisp slightly at the edges, a splash of ketchup or tomato sauce if you had it, stirred in at the very end. That's the entire recipe. 1 pan, 1 pound of potatoes, a few hot dogs sliced thin to stretch further, and whatever was left in the ketchup bottle. What's remarkable about this dish is how directly it mirrors a modern instinct, the what's in the fridge dinner, except in this case, what's in the fridge usually meant exactly 4 ingredients, and the entire meal cost a fraction of what a single hot dog costs on its own today. 7. Economy pudding, published in the Sault Star, 1936. This one comes directly from a Canadian newspaper recipe column published in the Sault Star in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, in June of 1936, right in the depths of the Great Depression. Economy pudding was a baked dessert made primarily from flour, sugar, and milk, with the defining feature being that the batter was poured into a hot sauce, typically a simple mixture of brown sugar and water, before baking. As it baked, the pudding would rise to the top while the sauce sank to the bottom, creating two distinct layers from a handful of pantry ingredients. This technique, batter on top of a sauce that separates during baking, appears across multiple Depression-era Canadian recipes under different names, but the appeal was always the same. It created the impression of a layered, more complex dessert using nothing but flour, sugar, and water, at a cost that was almost too small to calculate. For families who couldn't afford store-bought desserts, recipes like this represented something important. Not just calories, but the dignity of still being able to serve dessert even during the hardest years. 6. Mushroom. Roly-poly, published in the Vancouver Sun, October 1936. This one is delightfully specific, and it's a perfect example of how creative Canadian home cooks had to become with leftovers. The recipe, published in the Vancouver Sun in October 1936, called for a basic biscuit dough, rolled flat and spread with butter, finely minced leftover meat, and chopped mushrooms. The whole thing was then rolled up like a jelly roll and baked until the biscuit crust turned golden and the filling inside was hot and savory. It's essentially a savory cinnamon roll technique applied to dinner, and it solved two problems at once. It used up small amounts of leftover meat that wouldn't have been enough for a meal on their own, and it used mushrooms, which during the 1930s were becoming more available and were prized for adding rich, meaty flavor to dishes that contained very little actual meat. Sliced into rounds and served hot, a single mushroom roly-poly made from scraps could feed an entire family. 5. Hoover stew, the soup. Named after a president, but beloved in Canadian kitchens too, Hoover stew gets its name from U.S. President Herbert Hoover, whose presidency coincided with the start of the Great Depression. But the dish itself crossed the border easily, and versions of it appear throughout Depression-era Canadian recipe collections as well. The base recipe was almost insultingly simple. Macaroni or any small pasta, canned tomatoes, and sliced hot dogs or whatever cured meat was available, all simmered together in one pot until the pasta was tender and had absorbed the tomato sauce. What made Hoover stew so widespread wasn't flavor innovation, it was math. A single can of tomatoes, a small box of pasta, and a few hot dogs could produce a pot of stew large enough to feed a family of 5 or 6 with leftovers. Every ingredient was shelf-stable, cheap, and required no special equipment beyond a single pot. The name itself became something of dark humor during the era, a wry acknowledgement that the president's name had become attached to anything associated with poverty, from Hoovervilles, shantytowns, to Hoover stew. But the dish persisted in Canadian kitchens for decades after the Depression ended, simply because it worked. 4. Potato pancakes, a recipe that appears in almost every Canadian community cookbook. If there's one recipe that shows up in some form in nearly every regional Canadian cookbook from the 1920s through the 1950s, it's potato pancakes. Grated raw potato, mixed with a small amount of flour, and a beaten egg if available, though many versions skip the egg entirely, formed into thin patties and fried in a hot pan until crispy on the outside and soft inside. Served plain, with a bit of salt, or with a dollop of sour cream or applesauce if the household had any. What made potato pancakes so universal was that potatoes were, by a wide margin, the cheapest and most reliably available food in Canada during this era. A single large potato, grated and fried, could become a meal on its own, and a 5 or 10 pound bag of potatoes, which cost almost nothing, could provide dozens of meals. The dish remains a staple in some Canadian households today, particularly those with Eastern European heritage, where the dish is sometimes known by its Yiddish name, latkes, or its Ukrainian and Polish names. But the version that appeared in English-Canadian community cookbooks, stripped down to potato, flour, and a hot pan, has largely disappeared from everyday cooking. 3. Pudding chômeur, unemployed man's pudding. Quebec's Depression-era dessert that's still on menus. Today, this is the one Canadian dessert from this entire era that genuinely never disappeared. But the story behind it deserves to be told properly. Pudding chômeur, literally unemployed person's pudding, originated in Quebec during the Great Depression, when factory workers who had lost their jobs needed a dessert that used the absolute cheapest ingredients available: flour, brown sugar, and a bit of butter. The pudding is actually a simple cake batter, poured into a baking dish and then topped with a hot syrup made from brown sugar, butter, and water, or cream, in slightly richer versions, before baking. As it bakes, the syrup sinks below the cake and the cake rises through it, creating a moist, caramel-soaked dessert from 3 or 4 ingredients that cost almost nothing. The name itself tells the whole story. This was a dessert born directly from unemployment and economic hardship in industrial Quebec during the 1930s. And yet today, pudding chômeur appears on menus at upscale Quebec restaurants, sold for far more than the original ingredients would ever have cost. It's one of the only dishes on this list that made the journey from Depression survival food to beloved regional classic without ever disappearing in between. 2. The Five Roses Yeastless Quick Bread. From Canada's most successful cookbook, 1932. The Five Roses Cookbook, first published by the Lake of the Woods Milling Company in 1915, became one of the most successful cookbooks in Canadian history. By the mid-20th century, it was estimated to be in nearly 1 of every 2 Canadian kitchens. The 1932 edition, published right at the start of the Great Depression, included a quick bread recipe that solved a major problem. Traditional bread required yeast, time to rise, and careful kneading, all of which took skill and, more importantly, time that many people working multiple jobs simply didn't have. The Five Roses Quick Bread used baking powder instead of yeast, eliminating the rising time entirely. Flour, baking powder, salt, a small amount of fat, and liquid, sometimes just water, combined and baked immediately. No kneading, no waiting, a loaf of bread from start to oven in under 15 minutes of prep. This recipe became so foundational that variations of it, quick breads using baking powder instead of yeast, became one of the most searched recipe categories online during the early 2020s, as people rediscovered Depression-era techniques during a period of renewed interest in frugal cooking. The original 1932 recipe, sitting in a 90-year-old Canadian cookbook, predicted a trend by almost a century. 1. Canadian War Cake. Eggless, milkless, butterless cake. Originally published in 1918. And here it is, the recipe with the best story, the most reviews, and the most ingenious problem-solving of anything on this list. Canadian War Cake was first published in 1918 during the First World War in a Canadian community cookbook, a period when eggs and butter were so scarce due to wartime rationing that traditional cake recipes were simply impossible to make. According to Canadian food historian Ian Mosby, the recipe spread rapidly through community cookbooks across the country precisely because it solved an impossible problem. How do you bake a cake with none of the ingredients a cake normally requires? The answer was almost alchemical. Raisins, brown sugar, water, a small amount of fat, and warm spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, were boiled together for several minutes, creating a thick, dark, fragrant syrup. Once cooled, flour and baking soda were stirred in. No eggs for binding, no butter for richness, no milk for moisture. The boiled raisins provided sweetness, moisture, and body all at once, while the baking soda reacting with the acidity of the mixture provided the lift that eggs would normally provide. The result, by every account from people who've actually made it, is a dense, deeply spiced, almost fruit cake-like loaf that doesn't taste like it's missing anything at all. Online reviews of this exact recipe, even today, describe it as tasting like a little cake my dad bought at a bakery, or note that their mothers made it as a Christmas fruitcake base, completely unaware that the recipe's origins traced back to wartime rationing in 1918. The recipe reappeared during the Great Depression. It reappeared again during the Second World War, when it was sometimes called eggless, milkless, butterless cake, with nearly identical ingredients. And it reappears today, on recipe forums and baking blogs, every time a new generation rediscovers it, usually with the same reaction: surprise that something this good came from having absolutely nothing. 10 recipes. 10 different solutions to the same question Canadian families ask themselves for generations. How do you make dinner, or even dessert, when there's almost nothing in the house? The answer, again and again, was the same. Stretch what you have. Use every part of every ingredient. Find a way to make something taste like more than it cost. Most of these recipes live now only in digitized library archives, old newspaper clippings, and cookbooks that haven't been opened in decades. But the ingenuity behind them, the idea that a cake needs no eggs, that bread needs no yeast, that dinner can come from a single pan and 4 ingredients, that's still sitting there, waiting to be rediscovered. Sometimes the cheapest meal in the house turns out to be the one worth remembering.